extending a very, very warm welcome to our friends from the media, and also to Dr. Anant Agarwal, who is with us on Skype.
For edX, it is a real honor for us to partner with IIM Bangalore in bringing education to the whole country and the whole world.
Dr. Agarwal is the president of edX, which, as you probably know, is the Harvard-MIT joint venture. It's a non-profit and provides one of the best platforms in the world for presenting MOOCs to the whole world. And IIM Bangalore became a very privileged contributing member of edX in August 2014, and that's where our story begins. To get a campus like this, 100 acres and all these buildings, beautiful buildings, is very expensive. You simply cannot get education out to sizable numbers using this so-called real estate-based education. You have to get away from it. So this is where the MOOCs come in. I already talked about the large numbers that are registered. In future, you're going to find people will use technology to supplement in-class teaching. And in some cases, for those individuals who are not able to come to a campus like ours, because the capacity is limited, they're smart people, but they didn't quite come here because they're busy with their other careers and so on. We'll be able to give them education as well. So the first promise is that of massive reach. Now, associated with that promise of massive reach is an enormous opportunity, absolutely enormous, for social impact. Because the principles of management that we teach are relevant not just for people who pass through this campus and go and join Boston Consulting Group or McKinsey or Amazon or Infosys. They are very, very relevant for that humble trader who has a kirana shop in a village, or somebody who runs a handicraft business, or somebody who is in a small town making castings. So if we want to achieve our Prime Minister's vision of Make in India, we have to upgrade the skills of the vast majority of the workers in this country. We have to provide support for those humble business people who are struggling every day. So our vision is that sometime in the future, hopefully not too distant future, we can organize management programs, principles of management for micro enterprises, small businesses. And they will have to be tailored accordingly. And the impact of that, the potential impact, is absolutely enormous. So that's the second very exciting promise of this format. Now, you might think that if you're going to have education for so many people, the quality may not be great. It's quite the contrary. These courses are being designed very, very carefully. We have our full-time, outstanding professors who've signed on for this. We have a large number of youngsters out there, very, very bright young men and women who are looking at all this material, helping lay out the sequences. Our courses are being offered in English to start with, but we are very committed that eventually, in some period of time, we're going to offer transcripts in Hindi and in other Indian languages. It's the opportunity of this kind of access to learning, high-quality learning, anytime, any place for free, is just amazing. Can you just think about the potential of all that?
This has been an exciting adventure for someone who's had a long journey into things that are technology-oriented. I grew up in really small towns of Karnataka. And there was a time when my father delivered me the first shock in my life, which was that we were going to move from the small town to something as gigantic as Madras. Which language will I be able to speak in? Because Kannada was the current language at that time. And then I took the ever-present Murphy radio and tuned into Radio Australia and was able to pick up some bits of spoken English. And at that point, I said, okay, I do believe in the power of technology. Then we went through college, and there wasn't much technology involvement at that time. In fact, if there was any textbook that was rare, then we had to worry about who had the 3 copies on campus. So that was the terrible phase before 1990. And then when I went over to the US is when I figured out technology has reached a much wider audience over there. Say about 10 years ago, people avoided what I call the elephant in the room, which was that technology could actually be used to have meaningful teaching transactions. Yes, MIT was in the forefront with its open courseware project, OCW, the one feeling I had was, okay, if only all of this material were to be brought to life. And video was one powerful medium at that time. Now, thanks to movements like edX, we now not only have a phenomenal platform to conduct these educational transactions, we also have, what is more important, a global marketplace. IIMB has backed a whole big team of people who've put in, they've burnt midnight oil and they've been able to create content.
Today, when I stand here and I'm thinking about how we did this MOOC, I came up like a good professor. I came up with a formula. The formula is this. Each course we do is roughly broken up into 3 phases. The first phase is design, in which we think about what we are going to do. The second phase is execution, when we go in and build it. And the third phase, we thought about this word today, is basically packaging. So it's design, execution, packaging. And the amount of effort that goes into these 3 is roughly in the ratio of 40, 20, 40. Okay, this may sound familiar to those who are from the software industry. I teach IT, so these things come naturally to me.
The course that I plan to offer, that I am in the midst of shooting for, is an introduction to people management. Only thing that you're focused on is in delivering that content the way you knew it. And I'm not even too sure whether I've thought enough about how I would impact someone else in the way they are actually learning. Yeah. So to my mind, that was interesting because here were a group of people who didn't have a clue about the subject that I was teaching, but were actually giving me input on what it is that someone who's there, those 5,000 people that Shankar has, who are sitting all over the world, how would they be looking at it? It's not just about what I'm saying. It's important, no doubt, but it's also about how am I able to engage them more meaningfully. I think that was a big takeaway for me as a faculty as we are going through.
I'm teaching a course on sustainability. Actually, I'm teaching a course on how to save the world. And I'm sure all of you would be interested in that. But in doing this course, which now I don't have to tell you how important it is and why you must take this course, why you must recommend this to anybody that you know. I want to reinforce what some of my colleagues said earlier. I will be a different person walking into the classroom, simply for the reason I think this, from a faculty's perspective, it certainly helps the students, but from a faculty's perspective, it forces you to think and reconceptualize, and also try and put your own perspective and thoughts and ideas into your course. So it is certainly useful for the students, but I think it helps us also grow. And overall, so this has been the experience, and we'll be happy to share with you